Two guys in their early 50s with one dream: to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, welcome back from your travels. It is wonderful to be co-hosting once again. Nice to see you, buddy. Welcome home.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. No, it's good. Good to be back. Even though the weather was a tad warmer over on Penang Island in Malaysia, it's a lovely spot. Recommend it to anyone. The people there are just amazing. Huge service culture over there. So they go above and beyond what you would normally expect. And then sort of, got back to Australia and experienced Australian service levels over the last few days, which are
a little bit different. Maybe not quite the service culture, but that's okay. That's what happens when you pay everyone a really solid wage.
Yeah. I actually have heard a couple of stories in recent times about the younger generation, especially sort of in retail sales, that they come from the belief that they don't owe the customer anything. They're just there for the wage, and it's a very different cultural perspective. In Malaysia, they are very grateful for your patronage in just about every establishment that you walk into.
Excellent. Well, we'll have to put that on the list of places to go. We are, of course, one of Malaysia's top golf podcasts as well. So a big hello to all of our Malaysian pilgrims out there. Or however I say hello. Of course, we are big on getting greetings right in other cultures. We haven't gone down this path for quite some time, but...
Well, and this is the thing. I didn't actually get to learn any of the local language because English is mandatory in Malaysia.
Wow.
So everyone speaks, or just about everyone, the vast majority of the population speak English. So the mandatory languages are Malay, English, and Mandarin.
Wow. Are they huggers, the Malaysians? Do they like a good hug as a greeting?
Yeah, they don't mind a hug. We had a couple of hugs especially when we were leaving, because we did get to know a few of the locals, and we got out to eat at a few of the local places, and having kids get to know other kids pretty well, and got to know a few others. So yeah, it was good. It was really good. I actually kept going to keep in contact with a guy who was also and his family that was also on holidays there from KL. They made the 4-hour drive down to Penang Island, and we got on pretty well. So yeah, we exchanged WhatsApp details, and if he gets to Australia or if I get back over to KL, which I will at some stage, we'll have a catch up, which will be good.
Golfer?
No, not a golfer.
Shame. Nevertheless, that's all good. Well, welcome home. Good to see you got back in one piece, and we're going to hear
almost a couple of fun injuries, which I did show you a bit earlier on.
Yes.
That's the price of admission when you do those sorts of adventure things.
It is. And we are going to hear a lot more about the Malaysian sojourn, including hopefully a story of a round of golf. Probably in our next episode, because tonight we are here to unpack all of the fun that was the New South Wales Country Championships down in Cowra on the weekend just past. So, lots of stories to tell you all about. Andy Walker. Shame he couldn't be there, but I was flying the Missing Links Golf Show flag proudly.
And look, as much as I loved playing in the New South Wales Country Championships last year, a nice overseas family holiday.
It's close. It's close.
Yeah.
It's close.
I know which one I'd pick most days of the week.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Can't really argue with that. So yeah, look, there's a lot to unpack. So I think probably the best thing to do is for us to just get stuck into it. Andy Walker, what do you think?
Yeah, let's crack on.
Very good. So
yeah, I mean, how did you find my tips last week? I did have a listen to
Useful.
the episode, and yeah, well done. First solo.
Thanks.
Which, it's difficult to talk
Different.
by yourself for 45 minutes.
You know the difference. Okay, this is the difference, pilgrims. If you're out there, jot your notes down right now if you're thinking about making a podcast, because I'm gonna hit you with some gold here. And this will come as a surprise to everyone listening. We have a tendency not to script a great deal.
Yep.
And just have a chat about stuff. However, it's much harder to engage in off-the-cuff banter when you're on your own.
Funny that.
So a little bit of preparation is definitely necessary.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, you will be happy to know that I have done a little bit of preparation for tonight, because there's a lot of golf to talk about. There's 36 holes of tournament stroke play for us to get through in this episode.
Was the preparation actually playing golf? Was that the preparation?
For this episode, yeah, basically. But I have had to get my thoughts in some degree of order, because otherwise this could be a 7-hour episode, and we're not going to inflict that on anyone. So we're going to try and
strap yourselves in, Phil.
Nevertheless, there's a bit to talk about. But I thought probably a good place to start, actually, because this was definitely a question that you were asking and a few others have on the messengers, is about Cowra. So I thought it might be worth just sharing some thoughts on Cowra Golf Club, because, obviously for those of you that haven't played it, it's definitely a place that I would suggest is worth a visit. Beautiful course. What was interesting is doing the strategy for the course before the round. As you know, and I talked about it in the last episode, I went through all of the holes with the ShotScope app, which is basically like doing it on Google Earth, looking down from above. And look, it's good to a degree. What it doesn't show is any of the elevations and undulations of the ground. It doesn't show any of the visual tricks that the architects are trying to play on you as you're approaching the golf course. It doesn't show the sizes of the trees. And what was interesting is I found that a lot of the holes actually looked completely different in reality to what they looked, or what I was expecting them to look like from the overhead assessment that I did online. I thought that was interesting. Most of the strategic decisions that I had come up with rang true. But one of the things that I would say is that the ShotScope app was showing me the members' tee boxes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And if you haven't played the course before, it's difficult to know where the tips are and where the tournament tee boxes are. And you might have recalled in the last episode, I talked about the fact that it didn't look like it was the longest golf course going around, and potentially, it was there for the taking for particularly some of the guys that hit the ball a lot further. I will say this, off the tips, it is very much a big boys ballpark.
Right.
And there was some serious holes, like as we'll go through. There was one of the par fives was about 520 metres, which is pretty substantial. So what's that? It's 570 odd yards. There was a 400 metre par four. There was a par three playing a little over 200 metres. There was some distance out there on some of those holes. There were also a few short holes as well. But definitely there was a few that were calling for some good ball striking. The other thing that I would say about parks, and probably the main thing that I would say, about Cowra, is the trees. Good grief, there are some trees. In size, some of them reminded me a little bit of Mollymook.
Oh, yeah. There are some of big trees monsters down there.
Yeah. Combination of some massive eucalypts and a few pines. But definitely the trees, seem to have massive catcher's mitts on them at times. They, you certainly weren't going over them for the most part, and getting in them was a genuine penalty.
Was it overhanging? Were they overhanging?
There were quite a few. There were quite a few. Yeah, quite a few that were absolutely. which we'll talk about as we go. One of the other defences that the course had, no surprises for this time of year in Australia, was magpies.
Yep.
They were wreaking havoc, and pilgrims, if you're not from Australia and you haven't run into the great Australian magpie, it is a bird that is extremely territorial, black and white bird, extremely territorial in the time coming up to spring and nesting season, which is now in our country. And they were out in force. That was pretty fun. So that's all. That was all.
I did play a course a very, very long time ago down in Tasmania that had issues with plovers. There were plovers nests almost on every fairway, and they're aggressive as well.
They are absolute lunatics. Those birds. Masked lapwing, they're also known as. But anyway, a bit of some animal facts for you, Andy Walker. The greens, probably worth talking about the greens. The greens were excellent. I thought they were fast and they were true. There was a real mixture of subtle breaks and some big breakers. Some of the subtle breaks really, difficult to read and difficult to pick, particularly if you don't know the course that well. So that was a bit of a challenge.
So you didn't get down there for any sort of practice round or holes. Did you walk any of the course, or it was just blind?
It was completely and utterly blind. It was played as you find it.
That makes it hard. Yeah.
I didn't really have a choice. I mean, I drove down there on the morning of round one, played the round, my daughter's birthday dinner that night, so came back to Orange for that, and then drove down again very early the next morning. Yeah, right. So no, there was no time really for anything other than just the two rounds, and that absolutely made it difficult. No question. A practice round would have, undoubtedly helped. What else would I say? I'd say the elevation changes was unexpected. I was expecting a flatter course, but where the clubhouse is located is actually quite a lot higher than the rest of the course. So a number of holes, 2, 4, 9 and 18, had severe uphill approaches into the greens and elevated greens, and for the most part, elevated greens with false fronts. So both you have to get it, you have to fly it to the pin, but you don't want to be above the pin because nothing good happens from there. So there were a few sort of observations, Andy Walker, for the day, but I think probably a good place to start. When I arrived on day one, I took your advice, spent a little bit of time before I got out of the car just to collect the thoughts and kind of get myself in the right space. And I did just a little recording as well of thoughts before round one. So would you like to jump in the old Missing Links Golf Show time machine and take yourself back to Saturday morning?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we've just arrived at the course. It's day one of the New South Wales Country Championships. Happy to say, Andy Walker, I've taken your advice and I have arrived a bit more than an hour and a half prior to tee time. So, plenty of time to get in, have a bit of a warm-up, get mentally prepared, and get stuck in, teeing off on the fourth, shotgun start. Interesting, feeling good, not feeling nervous, although, obviously I can feel that this is a bit different to normal competition day. So, but no butterflies, no feelings of anxiety or anything like that. Just, I think probably excitement, ready to get out there and ready to have a really fun day. The weather's okay. There's a bit of rain overnight. It's cool, but blue skies. A bit of wind around. So anyway, that's fine. That's going to be the same for everyone. And we'll get out there and have a look at the course and have a bit of a warm-up and see how we feel. Thoughts, Andy Walker?
Nice. I like it. And you did mention this last week. I noticed, with that, my recommendation to get there about an hour and a half beforehand, with the shotgun start. Everyone gets there at the same time and wants to use the nets. They want to use the putting green. They want to use all the facilities. So, and this is what we did last year at Parks, is that we got there a little bit earlier. So our warm up was done pretty much before anyone else's, and we just had a little bit of time just to relax and chill out before before we sort of teed off, rather than being stressed and not having enough time and not having a sufficient warm up.
It was a good strategy. I know I was definitely there before the bulk of the field arrived. That's for sure. Managed to get out, obviously arrived and signed in and did all the things that you need to do, and managed to get out and have a good putt on the practice green, which is a relatively small practice green. And I've got to say, in 20 minutes after I'd arrived, it was chockers. So,
Yep.
If you don't speak Australian, that's full.
Yep.
Chocker block full. It was very full. However, this, I will say, there was a couple of telling comments that were made in the car there that actually came true. Now, I talked about getting there early and wanting to have a warm up, as we've just been discussing. Andy Walker, 0 warm up nets.
Oh no, you kidding?
I'm not. No
Wow.
rain,
All
no
right.
range, no warm up nets.
Yeah, what? That's an interesting place to be in. So what? Stretching? Did you go for a jog? Or did
Stretching
you,
was pretty much the only. Stretching and a bit of a dynamic warm up. So a bit some calisthenics. Before tee off, but.
You didn't look on Google Maps to see if you can find a park or something to go and hit a few balls on?
Well, interestingly, there was one a few streets away that was being used as a bit of a informal range. But you know how the Country Championships is also doubles as a teams event with the representative teams from the different areas. It appeared, and I don't know if this is true, but it appeared that it was only the teams that had been informed of that. So those of us that were solo players didn't get the memo.
Yeah, right. Okay,
so,
that's pretty poor.
Look, I will say this much, and I don't want to harp on this, but to our good friends at Golf New South Wales, I truly believe that if a golf course does not have adequate warm-up facilities, it should not be able to host an event of this magnitude.
Because that was the same with the mid-amateur. Was it Tamworth?
It was.
Yeah, they had the same
Oh,
issue.
actually, no, Tamworth is okay. Longyard had no warm-up facilities there. Tamworth was
I knew it was
good.
one of the two.
Tamworth had a bit of a range and a really nice short game area. Actually, I couldn't fault Tamworth at all. Longyard, yeah. But I did mention this to our very good friend Emmanuel Avaranis when he mentioned to me that there was no warm-up area. Just that perhaps they need to have a look at the criteria for selecting clubs when they give these events. There are plenty of options out there, and I, for one, it astounds me that they give events like this to places with 0 warm-up facilities. It's not good enough.
No, that's got to be a prerequisite, I would think, for a championship, New South Wales championship.
100%.
You've got to give people the chance to warm up.
Yeah. Now, I'm not for a moment going to say that affected me any more than it did anyone else, because obviously we're all in the same boat. However,
well, not the teams apparently.
Well, that is true. I'd also say though that those of us chasing middle-aged sporting glory probably need a good warm-up better than people chasing youthful sporting glory. That's worth. So anyway, there was that. The other thing that you might have heard me mention was that it had rained pretty heavily the night before. Course was in pretty good nick, in fairness, but I think the time of year actually hurt the course a little bit, because the event usually is played in November. It's obviously been brought forward. And it has been a very wet and a cold winter in and around Cowra. The fairways,
not a lot of grass growth.
No, and the fairways were particularly patchy, Kikuyu fairways, but there was sort of quite a lot of bare patches and winter grass in certain areas. So it was a little bit.
I would have thought then preferred-lies would have been.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because they were not. It was play the ball as it lies. There was there was a lot of conversation prior to tee off from various groups that were there about consternation about that ruling. There was a lot of people that felt that lift, clean and place or preferred lies should have been in play, but they were not. Golf New South Wales, in their infinite wisdom, decided that we'd play the ball on the ground. Same for everyone.
And it's not the PGA Tour though. Like, you're not playing for a major or, I mean, I understand that, we talked about it at the PGA Championship when there was a bit of talk about, mud balls and the like, but the fairways themselves were still in excellent condition. Whereas when you've got patchy.
This was patchy. And I'll tell you now, I reckon I had a mud ball on almost every tee shot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, it's disappointing.
But again, same for everyone. However, where you got the worst lies more often than not was actually around the greens. There were a lot of elevated greens. And, with your elevated greens, you kind of get that little hollow almost at the base of the undulation before it goes up. In those areas, which is where you really need a good lie if you're going to nip a nice little spinning chip shot. That was where there was, kind of quite often that sort of pudding type ground underneath some patchy grass. So it was pretty hard around the greens to play.
So was that? Did you use like a chip and run a lot in that? Because that's what I would have done in those sorts of really thin lie where there's virtually nothing under the ball except a bit of mud. Just grabbing a 7-iron or a 6-iron, and
a bit of
if you can, if you've got a bunker in front of you, you can't obviously.
Quite often you couldn't do that because quite often the greens were pretty substantially elevated. And as you'll hear as I take you through the round, I had a knack for short sighting myself as well. So that did make the bump and run a little bit difficult. Anyway, they're just a few observations. One last thing that I would mention as well is that I established in the morning when I arrived that there were, the field was open for 120 people. There were 110 entries that ended up turning up for the event.
Yeah, right. Yep.
I, on handicap, was ranked 109th out of 110.
Out of 110. Excellent.
And so that was interesting. But that helped kind of, set a few goals for the tournament, which I, of course, wanted to come in better than 109th off the stick. It was a pretty good goal. So look, that's where we were. So everything, kind of was ready to go. We had the pre-round briefing, and then we were all told to head off to our respective tee boxes and be ready to tee off on the stroke of midday. So I was teeing off on the 4th, which was actually the 4th green was near the clubhouse. So it was just straight down the hill along the fence line down to the first tee. And I did grab a little bit more audio just on the walk from the clubhouse down to the tee box, Andy Walker. So if you want to just jump straight back into that Missing Links Golf Show time machine, then let's see what was going on. All right, here we go, pilgrims. We have been given the green light. We're now walking to our holes. So I'm teeing off on 4, which is actually plays back towards the clubhouse. So just walking down the fairway now towards the tee box. And I can tell you that it is massively uphill from about the 150 marker to the green. So definitely it's going to be an extra club, probably an extra 2 clubs into the green for a second shot, also into the wind. So not an easy starting hole, but beautiful day. Let's go, pilgrims. Pretty sure you can hear some of that wind in the microphone there.
So you were walking down the hill at that point, because you sounded a bit out of breath.
It was the wind. I was also trying not to have a good chuckle because one of the guys who ended up being in my group, Andy from Wollongong, was in the process of being attacked by the magpie at that point on the way down the hill, which was pretty quality watching. So my group was Andy from Wollongong. He was playing off 6, and Travis from Charlestown near Newcastle playing off 8. He was the only person in the field. Yeah, he was the only person in the field that had a handicap a couple of decimal points higher than mine. So
right. So you had a good eye on your 110th.
Yeah, so I was playing with him on day one.
Field. Yeah,
I didn't realise it at the time. I hadn't done the maths yet, but that's the way that it was. So so we started on 4. Now, in the pre-round assessment, of course, that I'd done on 4 is a pretty straight par 4, about 350 metres, as you heard, the last 150 steeply uphill. Also OB all the way up the left side, which did appear to be very much in play. And during the few days beforehand, you might recall from the previous episode, I'd been talking about having some driver issues in the round of Bathurst, and I'd been losing a number of my drives off to the left with a big block cut. And so teeing off without a warm-up on the par 4 with OB up the left.
Into the wind?
Into the wind, slightly in my head. And it had been one that I'd been kind of thinking about in the lead up to it. So, anyway, it was one of those ones where I'd had to try and really work on the pre-acceptance strategies that we talk about to enable a free swing, pick a target, and rip at the target rather than try and protect against potentially, hitting a bad swing out of bounds and end up steering one and do something even worse.
And that's probably the worst thing you can do, right? It's if you steer one, you can almost guarantee that you're either going to hit it way left, which is what you don't want, or the reverse is you overcompensate and hit it right. So you may as well just stand up there and rip it. So
I went through the mental process of accepting if it went out of bounds, and what would that mean? Well, all it would mean was re-teeing on the first hole of a 36-hole tournament. I'm still going to play the tournament. It's not the end of the world. We'll move on. So all said and done, stepped up, picked my target on the right side of the fairway, and absolutely ripped one up the right side of the fairway, Andy Walker, which was
nice, good start.
Which was a nice start. So got up there, second shot, whilst dodging the magpie attacks. I was about 135 out, steeply uphill, pretty stiff breeze. I did take the extra 2 clubs that I talked about in the recording, hit a good 6-iron. It was kind of a blind green though, because obviously it flattens out at the top. It looked straight at the pin. It definitely got to the green, I could tell that, and I got up there and I could see it was around about 8 feet from the hole, nicely under the pin, uphill putt.
Nice.
Stepped up, read the putt, probably about 2 inches of break right to left. That's what I read it with my tour read putting methodology. Hit it on that line. It was a perfect line. Took the break, put the brakes on about 1 inch out from the hole. Just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, wow.
Tap in par to start, which was a good start, but I couldn't help thinking if I had actually made the birdie, I probably would have been on top of the leaderboard after one, and I would have been getting
leading.
I would have been getting a screenshot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me tell you. But anyway, tap in pars, mate. You can't argue with the tap in par to start.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was pretty happy with that. So we move on to our second hole, which was the 5th, which is a par 3. Other side of the clubhouse and going kind of down the hill. It was playing about 136 metres, bunkers on both sides, left and right. The wind was pretty much whipping left to right across the hole, slightly helping. So hit a pretty easy 8-iron, which just drifted on the breeze a little bit, missed the green right, but came up just short of the bunker. So I was there. I actually drew a pretty good lie, a little uphill lie onto the green, uphill to the pin. Hit a really nice bump and run, as per your thoughts before, to around about 2 foot, and again tap in par.
Good. Nice start. Par.
Good. Par. I probably would have been going all right on the leaderboard actually at that point.
Yeah.
Didn't look. I was not looking at the leaderboard. So we move on to 6. Now 6 was one of the big boy holes, par 5, playing about 525 metres. Slight dog leg left, OB all the way down the left side. But in fairness, it's not really in play because there was a big clump of trees, so you're kind of aiming back in at the golf course. Hit a really good drive straight up the centre to the kind of to that first corner, and then hit a really poor, toey, fat 5-wood, which left me about around about 135 to 140 into the green. and I hit a poor 8-iron at that point, which came up short of the green. Pitched on and 2 putts for bogey, so no real harm done.
Yeah. I mean, one over after 3. I mean, yeah,
it was okay.
You've got to, in 36 holes, you're gonna come across those where you feel as though you might have wasted one, but at the end of the day, there's no real harm done.
Oh, look, it was okay. I mean, the thing was making bogey, that's fine. It was just having hit 2 poor shots consecutively. But in fairness, I hit a good pitch onto the green, so I was okay with that. It just was one of those ones that was hitting onto the green, running away. So it was difficult to get it close. So, nearly made the putt coming back, but it didn't quite drop. So anyway, no big deal. So we move on to 7. 7's a par 3, which on my course assessment looked like it was going to play at about 120 metres. It was actually playing to 140 metres because we were off the We were off the tips. In fact, I've got to be honest, at times it felt we were playing behind the tips.
Okay.
It was right back. This is a bit of a weird hole, right, because it's got a massive big eucalypt that's at the next tee box, which it blocks out half the green. So you've either got to kind of draw one around or have a really high ball flight and go over this massive tree. I just cleared the tree, and then the breeze pushed the ball a bit to the right, and it was coming down towards about the right edge of the green. There's a massive big mound on the right side of this green, which had hit the mound and it actually kicked it forwards and to the left, back to the centre of the green. Andy Walker, it nearly went in.
Yeah, right.
It rolled over there. We actually were standing on the tee box going, that's in. It was legitimately very, very close to a hole in one.
Yeah. So what, tap in birdie?
No, it rolled over the edge to about 8 feet.
Right. Okay.
It's one of those ones. It's not as close as what you think it is when you get up to the green.
You get down there and
and it looked a little bit like the first hole. Couple of inches of break right to left, hit a perfect putt, and it pulled the brakes on an inch out from the hole.
So it's interesting you say that both on your first hole and on this hole, which is your fourth hole, that you've hit a perfect putt, yet it came up short. I just want to like come back to like the language that you're using. Do you still feel as though a perfect putt comes up short?
Yeah, because it rolled beautifully on the line, perfect read, and looked in for all money, and then just didn't drop. You know those ones that they're rolling at an even pace, and then it's like someone just stops it, kind of like that.
Yep.
It's the golf gods. Anyway, tap in par. So that's all good.
So 1 over after 4, yeah? That's good. It's good.
Solid start. So then we move to the par 5, the 8th hole, par 5, playing about close to 470 metres back into the wind. Sort of quartering breeze, let's say, into the wind, and also pushing from right to left. The tee shot looks to be a dogleg left where you need a bit of a right to left shape. There is a very big tree on the left-hand side, about 50 metres off the tee, which kind of blocks out the left side of the fairway. So it does look like you've got to bend it around. I tried to kind of cut a driver a little bit to bend it around and left the face open, which went left into the left trees. I would say in retrospect, it's a bit of an optical illusion that you don't really need to try and move it right to left. There is enough room on the fairway just to hit one straight.
Yep.
So I think the architects got me on that one.
Was it pretty flat, like your tee shot? Because, I mean, sometimes a dead flat tee shot, it feels the edge of the fairway or the end of the fairway looks closer than what it actually is.
Yep. Exactly that. It was. Now, the problem was when I got to my ball, I was kind of on the left-hand side of the left tree line, and I was given a choice at this point either to basically punch sideways back out onto the fairway, at which point I would have had no chance getting to the green in 3, or to play it up the adjacent fairway and hope that there was the ability to come over the trees down towards the green for the third.
Right.
But not having played the course before, I didn't really know.
Yeah. So you took that option.
Yep.
Excellent. How'd that work out for you?
I hit a pretty good 5-wood down and kept it in the short grass of the adjacent fairway. And I got down there and there was an enormous tree which was blocking the front of the green, but a lower tree that I could get over with a 6-iron towards the back of the green. Now, the trouble with this is that the green kind of ran, because of the dog leg, it was kind of running on a bit of a diagonal from where I was. So I needed to get over the tree, over the greenside bunker to kind of stop it on the green going across the green, not up the full length of the green, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's in your repertoire, isn't it? I've seen you hit that shot before.
I bailed out left of that bunker to like the back fringe. Because sometimes you don't need to take on the Tiger Woods line.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hit a pretty good shot. Went pretty much exactly where I wanted to. And
so you're there for 3.
I'm there for 3, sort of to the back. Oh, not quite back fringe, but like back, maybe about 5 meters off the back edge. Now, this green actually had a really steep 2-tiered element to it. The pin was on the top tier, which kind of ran again from where I was pitching from, sort of diagonally across where I was. So I pitched on what looked pretty good, and then it just caught the ridge, rolled down onto the bottom tier, which was a bit unfortunate. Read the putt a little bit poorly, and then ended up, unfortunately, 3-putting for a double. Kind of out of nowhere, really. I mean, not out of nowhere. That's probably unfair. I hit a really poor drive, and that put me under pressure for the rest of the hole. I was kind of chasing the hole a little bit from there, having to play up the wrong.
It doesn't sound like you did that much wrong, though.
I hit a poor tee shot. I felt like I'd got myself back into the hole, though, after that.
Yeah, and especially like being greenside for 3.
For sure.
You'd expect bogey at worst.
You
being
would.
Greenside for 3.
You would. I think again, this was one of those things with not really understanding how that green works and rolls. If I'd played that hole a few times, I probably would have not gone at the pin as much as I did with that pitch, and just would have played out to the safe side on the top tier. Yeah. I guess that's pretty much the 2 errors was the pitch and the drive on that one.
Yep.
So yeah, look, made double. That was a little bit disappointing, but shake it off. We then get to the par 4 9th. Definitely this is a hole that was probably the most different from what I had imagined when I looked on the map. It was steep. It was pretty steeply uphill the whole way to the green. It was doglegging right to left. You could and yes, there was a bit of a shared fairway, but only right at the very end when you got up to the green. So definitely not something that you could use off the tee. So it was calling for a good tee shot. I did hit what I thought was a pretty good drive. It just drifted on the breeze towards the left trees. Pretty narrow fairway, and it was dead. It was just dead behind a tree. And I was once again given the option of playing pretty much backwards to the 9th fairway or punching it out to the adjacent fairway once again, which was the 10th, coming back the other way, which I did with a 7-iron. Left myself an 8-iron up the hill, again to an elevated green, which came, to be honest, it was a horrible 8-iron. It was fat and it was short. So I was short of the green for 3. Hit sand wedge onto the green, straight to the centre of the green. It hit the green and spun and came all the way back off the front of the green because of the false front. Which was then left me probably 40 feet up the hill. Hit a pretty good 2-putt to about, I would say I hit my first putt rather to about 7 or 8 feet short, and then a good second putt drained it to save double.
Wow. 7 or 8 feet for double.
Yep. That could have easily been a triple, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I've gone double at that point.
So bit of snap back to reality in the great words of Eminem.
Eminem, yeah. Was it Matthew Mathers? Michael Mathers? What's his name? Anyway, that guy.
Eminem.
So, look, that was a bit disappointing. So we move on to the 10th. The 10th is a par 4 again, 340 metres straight down the hill away from the clubhouse. Hit a good drive up the right side, finished in the rough, actually in a grass fairway bunker. So what would have been an old fairway bunker but was now grass, but on the upslope of the far side of it. Bit of a launch pad. So I took a 9-iron and got a quality flyer at that point and flew the green. Anyway, pitched on 2-putt bogey. No real harm done, but we moved to +6. After 7. 2 doubles hurt. The 11th's par 5. This is another solid 500-metre par 5. So quite a wide driving hole. And so I pulled the drive a little bit down the right side. It did clip a branch and probably took, 20 metres off the drive, which meant that it was very much it was pretty much always going to be a 3-shot hole anyway, but absolutely very much a 3-shot par 5. Hit a good 5-wood up the centre to the corner, about 110 out, pitching wedge on about probably what would I have been, about 20 feet short of the pin. Kind of uphill though, so not too bad. So knowing that I'd left a couple of putts short at this point, I didn't want to do that again, so I steamed 8 feet past.
Excellent.
And missed the comebacker for a 3-putt bogey out of nowhere.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So,
that hurts a bit.
Getting a little bit frustrated.
Can imagine.
At this point. So it was a good opportunity to do some good breathing. Have a couple of snacks and use all the strategies that you so eloquently talked about last week.
Get into the present moment.
All of those things.
Time travel.
All of those things, because very tempting at that point to go, things are unraveling. It's getting a bit difficult.
Dummy gets thrown out of the pram.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I actually was really happy with my ability to stay on every shot and not dwell on any of the mistakes and not dwell on any of the drop shots or anything like that, but just to put that aside and focus on every shot. So the next one, the 12th, was a par 4. It's the shortest par 4. It was at 285 metres, but it was playing back into the wind. So it was one of those things, a question of, do you take driver and try and get it up as close as possible where the fairway narrows a little bit, or do you lay back with something else and, try and leave a full shot into the green? But given it was into the wind, I thought it was, it was driver. So I hit a driver. I hit a pretty ordinary driver, to be fair. It was kind of a bit of a pull, but a bit of a heely pull, so a bit of distance came off. Now, down in this area, there's trees up the right, but then there's one tree that's kind of on the edge of the fairway that's got about maybe 10 metres between it and the other trees of the actual tree line. I went between that tree and the tree line and somehow had a shot at the green.
Nice.
One of the other guys in the group hit a drive in a similar spot and was stymied right behind that big tree.
Yeah,
so
right.
I kind of I feel like I hit it bad enough that I got away with it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not
you were
inspirational
stymied
golf.
a couple of holes earlier. Was it on 9? You were stymied.
Yeah, totally
So
stymied.
you're going to get both of those in well, maybe not in a round of golf, but over a few rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those golf courses where the trees really do play a very big part in it. So you might get some good bounces, you might get some bad ones. So what was I there? I was about 100 out. So I hit a pitching wedge in pushed it slightly, but it was still going to the, sort of the left center of the green. Hit the green, spun left off the edge of the green.
Okay.
I couldn't see exactly where it finished up, but I knew there was a bunker over there because there was bunkers surrounding this green.
Yep.
Now I got up there, and it was another one of those 2-tiered greens with the front, and it's weird, right? Like the front of the green was the high tier, and it drops off to a lower tier at the back of the green.
Yep.
The pin was on the lower tier at the back of the green. I was off the left side. I was actually between two bunkers in the rough. Yeah, and so looking where I was, I needed to pitch it probably just to the top tier and let it roll off the, down the tier towards the pin was the shot. Definitely not an easy pitch, but it was one of those ones that was asking for a bit of creativity. So anyhow, took out the sandwich, nipped it beautifully, pitched, bounced, checked at the top of the hill, kind of turned around, looked at me, winked, rolled down the hill, and it never looked like missing Andy Walker. I went straight in the heart for a bird.
Nice. Love it.
It's quite something.
Did you feel like Tiger Woods at the 16th of the Masters?
Not really, because at this point I was +6 after 8 holes.
I just,
so
thought you might maybe, do a fist pump and
no, there was no fist pumping.
High five there. Did he get young Mr. Hinks caddy for you?
Oh no, worth mentioning actually. No, he didn't. Couple of reasons. Because during the round at Bathurst, on the first hole, I was putting. Digression here, Pilgrims. I'm sorry about this.
big digression.
The week before, young Mr. Hinks did caddy for me at Bathurst. Anyway, we're on the first hole. I was putting, and he was just sitting down on one of the mounds on the side of the green watching us putt. There were some guys playing up the other hole that were in the trees, and this guy smacked his ball in the trees. It hit a branch of a tree, ricocheted, and hit young Mr. Hinks in the side of the head. It was a bit scary, actually. He's okay. Yeah. He's totally okay. He had quite an egg on his head, though. So I think,
I can imagine.
I think that put him off a little bit. But also, importantly, Mrs. Hinks was playing in the Orange Netball 6th grade grand final that afternoon. So young Mr. Hinks went to watch his mum play in the Orange Netball Association 6th grade grand final, and
nice.
Happy to report she did achieve middle-aged sporting glory. They had a win.
That's good. I mean, at least one half of the Hinks family is achieving the middle-aged sporting glory.
Yeah. So anyway, appreciate that digression. Thanks, Pilgrims.
Yeah.
So, yes, made bird. So we move on to 13. 13 is par 4, 360 metres, pretty straight, pretty narrow. It is a driver hole, but you just got to hit a good one. There's no bailout. So you need to hit a good one. I didn't. I hit one towards the left trees. The block cut came out again. It hit the trees and dropped down. I did incredibly drop down just into the sort of the rough on the left of the fairway. So I had a bit of a line towards the right edge of the green. I hit possibly my best shot of the day to this point with the 5-wood cut around the trees to the front edge and pulled out the Texas wedge with a nice 2-putt. Texas wedged on and then 2-putted for bogey.
Yep.
So, yeah, birdie bogey. What can you do? So there we go. So now we move on to 14. 14's par 3, 155 metres. I hit a 6-iron into the right bunker. I should mention on this one, 14 and 15, so the 14th tee box is hitting towards, obviously, the 14th green. The 15th tee box is just behind the 14th green. It's like they've squeezed a hole in where there is not room for a hole. So when you're putting on the 14th green, if the guys are teeing off on the 15th tee box, you've got to get off the green so that they can hit one straight across the green. And the best part is, and they're like another they're probably another 50 metres back from the green, so they'll probably go over you, but you don't really want to risk it.
No.
But the best part is that they're pretty much teeing off straight back at the 14th tee box. So you've got a time when you're hitting your tee shots there. Otherwise, you'll be in the backswing getting, peppered with golf balls off the 15th tee. It's not good course design. Anyhow, hit a 6-iron into the right bunker. One of the things I didn't mention earlier, the bunkers at Cowra seem to have been potentially recently redone and refilled with sand, so they were very full. Yeah. This had a horrible lie. In a rake mark, not dissimilar to my experience at Cowinda, I've got to say, on that fairway bunker on 18. So anyway, hit a poor bunk shot, left it in the bunker, got to hit another bunker shot, hit it to 2 feet for a tap-in bogey. So that was a pretty interesting hole. So we moved on to 15 par 4, 400 metres, slight dogleg left with OB all up the left. I did the same thing as the hole on 13, hit the left trees again, had another 5-wood opportunity, tried to replicate that shot, and it just clipped a branch. I thought I'd pulled it off, but unfortunately it dropped out onto the fairway. Could have been worse. It could have ricocheted into the trees, I suppose. So hit a gap wedge on, hit a fairly ordinary first putt left with about 6 feet for bogey. Made it.
Nice. But you haven't had a par for a little while, I've noticed. I mean, you had the birdie on 12, but no pars.
Yeah, and it was kind of on the train at this point. So shots leaking away. So knowing that I needed a par, we step up onto 16. 16 is the 203 metre par 3.
So after being on the train for
this is exactly what you need.
Yeah.
And it's just a brute. Like it's a tough hole.
Was it into the wind, or was it
the wind? The wind was more blowing, say, right to left across this hole. Which was not a bad thing, because you kind of had to bend your tee shot a little bit right to left to get on the green, because there's a massive tree.
Dogleg par 3.
Pretty much, there's a massive tree that was blocking you out a little bit to the left side of the green. I mean, I had to hit 5-wood to this green. There's no way I was getting over that tree. So I had to turn it right to left.
It's a bit like there's one at Parks. Is it the? It's the. It's not the. Is it the first?
The first or the 10th, one of the two.
Yeah. There's mind you, that's about a 5 or a 6 iron.
Yeah, and that's where that's downhill, and that tree is in the centre, but it's where your tee shot would be at its apex anyway. So you're always going to go over it. But this was this tree's probably 40, 50 metres off the tee box. So you're not getting up quick enough to get over it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had a really good 5-wood. I bent it around the tree on the dogleg par 3 and found the green.
Nice.
2-putt par. We got the par that we needed. So that was nice.
Easy.
Which took us to par 4, 17th. Again, 360-ish metre par 4. Dogleg to the right, but turned at about the 150 mark. So you kind of either had to hit a fairway wood, sort of to the left side of the corner, or try and turn a driver over left to right. So I had to find the draw that had been eluding me for most of the day. But I figured I'd give it a crack and hit a good one. I'll probably hit my best drive of the day, actually, on this one. Hit a nice draw, roped it around the corner, rolled out, and left me a mid-iron onto the green. I hit the green, and a pretty easy 2-putt par, Andy Walker.
Nice.
So par. Boom, boom.
So you're what, about 9 over at this stage?
Exactly, 9 over.
Did I count that correctly?
You did. Well done.
So what? 3 holes to play, or 4 holes to play?
4 holes to play.
4 holes to play.
4 holes to
9
play.
Over. So
I was feeling okay at this point.
Yeah,
particularly with a couple of doubles.
Yeah, for sure.
So we go to 18. 18's a tough hole. It's about 370 metres all the way uphill, all the way into the wind. So, yeah, there's quite a bit going on there. So I hit my drive solidly, but I did pull it a little bit and finished in the right rough. I wasn't behind a tree or anything like that, but I was a bit blocked out by a tree to get to the green. So I thought, that's okay. I'll just hit a big rope hook with my 5-iron. And I flushed it, and it just didn't rope hook at all. It went straight. So it finished in the left rough, which was okay. Pitched on from there and 2 putts. A good second putt, again, for a fighting bogey to go to plus 10.
Yep.
With 3 to play. So not terrible. Hanging in there. So we go to the first. The first is a decent par 4, about 360 metres, slight dogleg left. Hit a drive that was blocked a little. It was to the left trees. I was pretty dead, unfortunately, so I had to just punch out to the fairway, which I did. But it's got about, what would it be, about 30 metres, 30, 40 metres out from the green. There's this massive big overhanging branch that comes out over, probably 2/3 of the fairway. Wouldn't be an issue at all if you were hitting a wedge from the fairway, at a decent distance. You'd be well and truly over it. But unfortunately, I was at, kind of, 3/4 sand wedge distance, and that branch was right in my ball flight. So I could not play that shot. So I had to take a bit less loft, try and put it back in the stance and bump and run a little bit to get it onto the green, which I did, and thinned the absolute bejesus out of it. Straight through the green, and pulled one of those beautiful puddingy bare lies behind the green to an elevated green running away from you, which I only just sort of managed to bump it into the bank, and it popped up in the air and got just on the back of the green. So I was about 35 feet downhill to the flag, and hit my first putt, left it about 6 feet short, hit a pretty good second putt, and it just rolled past the edge and sat on the lip and didn't drop in. And so it was a 3-putt, which was a triple, seemingly out of nowhere. It was just a punch in the face.
Yeah, that is definitely a gut check.
Yeah, so that wasn't a lot of fun. So then we move on to the second hole, par 4 again, 315-ish metres, dogleg right. What did I do here? I hit an okay drive, but it drifted out to the left a bit through the corner, and there was one tree, Andy Walker, one tree, and it was spindly. It would have had a trunk diameter of about 10 centimetres.
Yeah.
I wasn't blocked by it, but it was right in the middle of my follow through. So if I hit a full-blooded shot, I would have wrapped my club around this tree and snapped the shaft.
Yep.
So I had to try and hit a little stabby punch shot with a 7-iron, trying to get that up towards the green. And of course, doing that, being really ginger on the follow through, left the club face open and kind of squirted it up. And again, relatively open area, one massive pine tree with overhanging branches that were drifting down pretty much to the ground. And of course, the ball's right in under that.
Yeah.
So totally stymied. At this point, really hard not to time travel, and start to think about how things are going, particularly after the triple. So anyway, put it again, 7-iron back in the stance and bumped it through the rough, through the branches, up the hill, rolled on, and actually rolled up onto the centre of the green. It was
nice.
It was a good shot. And then managed to make a pretty safe 2-putt there for another fighting bogey. So I was at plus 14 at this point with 1 to play. Needed to make par to shoot 85. It was par 71. And it was a shortish par 4, 300 metres, slight dogleg right. Fairway probably widened a little bit about the 220 metre mark, but you've got to get it down there far enough because the dog leg, there's a big tree on the corner. So anyhow, hit a good drive down the centre, got past the corner, enabled me to hit a pitching wedge at the green, which I did, and it just drifted on the breeze to miss the green to the left, which was a little bit frustrating, but didn't draw too bad a lie, and managed to hit a good pitch onto the green to about 3 foot, made the par putt.
Nice.
Walked off with an 85 on day one.
Yep.
Feeling a bit beaten up by the closing holes.
But, I mean, you know, even still in a championship like that, 85, it's not your best, but, you know, it's not that bad.
No, look, it was okay. I think it was okay. So I finished the day ranked 101 off the stick.
So you're ahead of your handicap.
I was ahead of my ranking, and I was 50th on handicap, Andy Walker.
Okay. Yep.
So it was one of those ones, like I came home, I actually felt pretty good about it. I thought I'd stayed in the fight. I knew it being windy, it was going to be tough anyway.
Yep.
I was coming in, I hadn't really played much golf for the month in the lead up to it. So I thought 85 tournament conditions, tough day out, course I'd never seen before. Actually wasn't a bad day out. All things considered.
Yep.
So I went home, house full of teenage girls for the daughter's birthday. We went out to the pizza joint for dinner.
Yep.
Got to bed at whatever time. Alarm set for 5:10 in the morning.
That's an early start.
Got up, got in the car, drive the hour and a quarter back to Cowra. And I've got to tell you, I was exhausted.
Yep.
Absolutely exhausted.
Did you manage to get a hot beverage on the way or beforehand?
The best thing, I've got to say, of everything that Cowra Golf Club did is we got a text message at about 9:30 the night before saying that there would be bacon and egg rolls and barista-made coffee for everyone in the morning.
Breakfast of champions.
So I was pretty happy about that. But anyhow, I pulled myself together, Andy Walker, to do a little bit of a recording. If you would like to hear that the day two, you might hear the weariness in the voice.
Nice.
So let's go to that now.
Yeah, we've arrived at the course for day two. It's nice and early. Been up at 5:15 this morning, so a little bit tired. But anyway, Steve left the coffee in the clubhouse. Day one wasn't quite the score I was hoping for, but at the same time, I was pretty happy with the grit, with hanging in there, with staying focused on every shot. So there was a lot of good things. I know I could play a little bit better than that. But at the same time, there was probably 15 good holes, 3 bad holes. So that was really the tail of the tape. So I can let those 3 bad holes dictate feelings about it. There was a lot of positives to take away from that day. So anyhow, currently sitting 50th on the net leaderboard, and I think 101st on the gross. So the goal is inside the top 100 gross, inside the top 50 net. We'll see how we go today. Try and bring those things to life. Keep you posted.
As you can hear, battling a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, reasonable goals, reasonable expectation. Inside the top 100 gross and top 50 net. So that's achievable. Definitely.
Yeah, very much so. So look, in the interest of the length of the episode, I'm not going to take you through a shot by shot of round 2. So we might sort of move to a bit of a highlights package, but we were playing off the 4th again to start. So it was a bit of a mirror image of the day before. And I was playing with a couple of guys from Lithgow, with Chris and Andrew from Lithgow. Chris off 6, Andrew off 4. Good fellas. And another Chris from your way. He's a member at both Belmont and Magenta.
Oh, yeah. Yep. 2 good golf courses.
So again, to be honest with you, I could not have asked for better playing partners on both days, to be perfectly honest. Really, really good guys. And I think this is one of the good things about getting out and playing tournaments is, you meet a lot of good people that are out there.
Yeah, you do. You do, for sure.
Similar things. And
I mean, the golf community in this country, and I'm sure it's the same in other countries, it's a good community, and there's a lot of really good guys and girls out there that you meet doing these sorts of things.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So anyhow, so we were a 4-ball on this particular day. Everyone had shot similar numbers on day one, so obviously they re-ranked the field with that in mind. So we were kind of, obviously all around the 100 mark and all sort of trying to do similar things on day two. But anyway, we teed off on 4. Again, that par 4 with OB up the left-hand side. I couldn't quite match the previous day's heroics. Had a similar tee shot though, but ended up making bogey rather than a par on 1. Made another good par on 3. Actually hit a really good tee shot on that par 3 down the hill to about 7 feet. And
so this is the 5th hole, yeah.
It's the 5th hole, yeah, and had another nice tap in par. Incidentally, on day 1, someone in one of the last groups to play that hole made a hole in 1.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
We were over on the other side, finishing up our round, and we heard a massive cheer.
Heard the cheer.
And then got in the clubhouse, and there was a bit of talk about
that always gives it away.
Yeah, totally. Like, oh, someone's holed out from somewhere. Yeah. Made bogey again on 6, which was pretty similar to the day before, to be fair. Yeah. Made bogey on the par 3 7th, so I was at +3 at this point. And funny thing was, obviously not scoring as well at this stage of the round as the day prior, but kind of felt like I was playing all right. I was hitting the ball reasonably well, so just one of those things. Wasn't quite getting in a hole as you want to. Then we played the par 5, where I'd played the horrible tee shot the day before. I was not fooled by the architects on this particular occasion and smoked a drive up the right side, pulled out my 5-wood and hit my worst shot of the weekend. Almost off the hosel of the 5-wood and pulled it along the ground into the right trees dead. Had to punch.
So if you were hitting an iron, do you feel as though it would have been a shank?
I think it was inside the hosel.
Yeah, right.
The reverse shank.
Yeah, excellent.
I think it was that bad. I nearly missed the ball. So I was dead. So I punched out a 7-iron, which actually left a nice angle to the green. You might remember that I talked about that 2-tiered green there and how the pin was on the high side. Well, on day 2 it was on the low side. Hit a really good pitch to about 8 feet and miraculously sunk the putt for par after that adventure. So that was kind of cool. That was a bit of a highlight.
So you're only 2 over after 4.
3 over. 3 over because I went bogey first, par.
Oh, you played 5,
bogey,
so you're 3 over after 5. Okay,
yeah. And then 9th par 4. Look, I played it slightly better than the day before, but still made bogey. So we're at +4. 10th, so remember the 10th par 4 down the hill. Where I kind of ended up in the grass fairway bunker the day before. I hit a slightly better drive, slightly straighter drive, but it's still the fairway cambers, and it ended up almost in exactly the same spot as it did the day before.
Yeah, right.
So I learnt my lesson with the flyer. So I took a bit of an easier swing on this one, and it didn't fly. It wasn't a flyer. It ended up just short right. I was probably about, I would say, about probably 1.5 meters to 2 meters off the green. Bit of a tricky one though, because sort of the shoulder of a bunker. So difficult one to pitch, to land in a good spot and get it close. So I took the Texas wedge once again and rolled it up and slammed it straight into the back of the cup, and it dropped down for an unexpected bird.
Okay, so you've had a couple of birds from off the green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
ironically, I'd had some really good looks at birdies over the 2 days from on the green and didn't convert any of them. But the two birds that came were out of nowhere. That's cool. That was fun. Anyway, again, no fist pumping. I wasn't getting too excited with myself.
But even still, I mean, what's that? You're back to 3 over. What's that through 7?
Yeah. So and so that was pretty good. So then we went to the decent. Par 5. Yeah. Yeah. It was, as I said, I felt like I was playing all right. Went to the par 5, 11th, and made bogey. So that took us to +4. And then to the short par 4 again, which we made birdie at on day 1. And this time I hit a good drive up the left side of the fairway, gap wedge onto the green, 2 putts for par. So stayed at +4, which takes us on to the bit of a stretch of tough holes, actually, which was the 13, 14, 15, 16. It's a bit of a tough little stretch there. Yeah. So I made bogey on 13, so at +5. I made par on 14. So no, I didn't. I made bogey on 14. Sorry. I hit my 5-iron onto the centre of the green. I did the same thing as I'd done on one of the other holes, the par 5 the day before. Steamed the first putt through and missed the comebacker. I went to 15. 15 was that really the long par 4, 400-metre par 4.
Yep.
So into now the breeze was picking up into the breeze. I hit a pretty good drive up the right side. I was still a 5-wood out. Like, it was a monster. Hit a good 5-wood, but it was just short of the green. Pitched on to, I would say, about 10 to 12 feet and drained the putt for par.
Nice. That's a good par.
That was an awesome par. That genuinely felt like a birdie.
Yep. So you're feeling reasonable walking off that green then?
Yeah. So at +6, walking onto the 16th tee, and 16 again, tough hole. That par 3, 200
that's the
metre
par 3. Yeah.
Really tough hole.
The dogleg par 3. Yeah.
And pace of play was a little bit slow actually at this point, so it was a mandatory call up, and we had the rules official sitting in the cart on the tee box, just making sure that everyone was calling everyone up. So we got called up, hit a pretty good 5-wood, came up just short though, and the pin, it was a nasty pin. It was tucked like behind the shoulder of the right bunker, so it genuinely looked impossible to get anywhere near the hole. Pitched on, just sort of drifted towards the centre of the green, 2-putt bogey. But we were standing behind the green before hitting those putts, watching the guys behind us tee off, and all standing there going, geez, like bogey's a good score on this hole today. I bet you there'll be no birdies and it'll be tough to get close to this pin. And old mate in the group behind us, who was quite a large unit of an individual, has just launched one like sky high, Tiger Woods style.
Yep.
And it's just come down about 3 feet from the pin and just stopped. I'm like,
nice.
Fair dinkum.
Yeah.
I reckon he's hit 7-iron.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just ridiculous. I didn't hang around to see if he made the putt though, so not sure. I'm assuming he probably did.
Yeah.
So we moved to 17, the dogleg par 4 round to the right. Again, hit another good drawing drive. Hit a 6-iron, which missed left of the green. Short-sided myself with a tricky pitch to, kind of over the corner of a bunker to an elevated green into the tier change, like from lower tier to upper tier. Tough chip, right? Tough chip. And I got it a bit heavy. But I've got a lot of bounce on my sand wedge, as you know, from the Jason Butt episode. So it kind of saved me a little bit. Hit the top of the bank of the elevated green, kind of popped up into the air and just got over the crest of the top tier and ran down to probably, what would it have been? It probably would have been about 15 feet from the hole. So
Yep.
off the club, I didn't think it was getting on the green, right? I thought I'm going to be chipping this again, but it did, and about 15 feet from the hole, and drained it for par. Very
Nice.
unexpected par.
Yeah. So what? You're 7 over
Yes.
at this. So a couple better than what you were on Saturday.
Yes.
That's a decent effort. I mean, given you haven't had a great deal of sleep and you're feeling pretty tired. I mean,
I was pretty happy at this point. I thought I was playing quite well. So we come to the 18th, which is par 4 up the hill. Hit a good drive up the right-hand side. Hit a 5-iron up the hill, flushed it, and, for all money it was on the green, came up just short. Hit a good pitch on which nearly went in for bird, and it rolled about 5 foot past. Now, you might remember I talked about right at the very beginning, this was one of the holes with the big false fronts, the big back to front sloping greens. Don't go past the pin. It's about 5 foot past the pin. One of the guys in the group was also past the pin. He was a little bit further than me. I had a 5-footer downhill, and I reckon I had to play at least 2 feet of break on this.
Yeah, right.
On this putt, right?
Yep.
Old mate who had the putt before me, I saw him, he hit it, and I could tell as soon as he's hit it, he's under-read it, and he's missed on the low side. But he'd hit really good speed, and it's nearly stopped at the hole, missed on the low side. He's finished about 8.5 feet from below the hole after.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so you're a bit scared at this point.
So scared.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm playing a lot of break because I'm hoping that as you kind of hit it into the hill a little bit, it takes some of the juice out of the putt.
Yeah.
I've hit it, and I tell you, off the club, I'm like, this is in. This is in the hole. And it rolls down, and it catches the high lip.
Oh, no.
And it power lifts. That's not good. It power lifts. And I've gone to about at least 10 foot down the hill.
Wow.
I'm like, I couldn't believe it didn't drop because it was going so slow. And then as it, when I say power lip out, it's in slow motion, but just like the ball just doesn't stop.
So do you feel as though maybe if it was the low side of the cup, it might have sort of got to the high side and dropped in? And it was just the fact that it was on the high side? And
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, so that's fine. So I watched, old mate had played his putt back up the hill straight away. He didn't have a rest, and I could see it was pretty slow back up the hill. So I got down there. I thought, no, I've got to give this a whack. So I gave it a whack, and not quite enough. It finished on the lip and just sat there for a tap in. So from going from a birdie putt from 5 foot, I made double.
Yeah. Wow.
And just honestly felt like I didn't deserve it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just, anyhow, that was heartbreak. So,
that's golf.
Yeah, it was, but that's okay. So we now move on to the first. So again, par 4 down the hill, slight dogleg left. Remember the overhanging branch and all of that sort of malarkey. So I hit, what did I do? I hit a bit of a left blocky drive, blocked out by that tree again. I was about 135 out, so I thought if I aim out with a 7-iron, try and cut it round this tree, it'll take some distance off. Just delightful decision making. Anyway, I hit it, and I'm like, this is on the pin. It was, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I've pulled this off. This is a ridiculous shot, and then it's just clipped the edge of this overhanging branch.
Yeah.
Okay. And instead of dropping or going right, as you might expect, it's gone right angles left.
Yeah.
Into the rough, which has then short-sighted me as well. Again, elevated green, short-sighted to the pin. I've hit a pitch, which has just hit the top of the bank And instead of like the one before rolling onto the green, of course, it's sucked backwards and it's rolled back down. So again, the time travel element. And I got up and I thought, well, I can't really chip this because I've got to go about 6 foot up and stop at about 3 foot onto the green. So I'll get out the Texas wedge again and just try and roll the putter up. But I had to get it on the green, right? Like the last thing you want to do is leave it at your feet again.
Yeah, for sure.
So I got it, I hit it up, it rolls past the pin, it's going downhill away, and it's gone to about, I'm going to say 25 feet past the hole.
Yeah.
So I've got a 25 footer for bogey after making a double out of nowhere, after being in reasonable shape. So what do? Just smack it straight in the heart and drain it for bogey from 25 feet.
Excellent.
It's quite...
Good bogey save.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh man, this is just outrageous. So anyway, that was okay. Then disappointingly made a double on 2. So we went to 12 over.
Yep.
And then on my last hole, that 300 metre par 4, dogleg right. Again, hit a very poor drive, pulled it right, hit the trees, but bounced out into the fairway, blocked out. So I had to hit a wedge to the corner. So I hit a lazy wedge to the corner, and I emphasised the word lazy because I pulled it and hit the tree on the corner and was semi-blocked out then for my third. And again, spinning mental wheels here, big time.
Yeah. And like recovery shots, I know that these recovery shots can seem straightforward at times, but you've got to give them the due diligence.
Yeah, and it was a mental error. It was a tired mental error.
Yeah.
And instead of just really committing to a spot on the corner of the fairway, I'm just like, I'll hit it up there, and then I'll think about the next one. Pulled it, hit the tree. It could have been worse. It could have gone into the trees, but it actually bounced around in the tree and popped out a little bit to the left. So I could see the left side of the green blocked out by some trees to the right side of the green. Now, somehow I managed to pull my gap wedge again, but go through the trees, miss the green right. Well, actually not quite miss the green, kind of hit the edge of the green on the right side about pin high and spun a bit. And then kind of rolled off the green down into the bunker, but like into the far end of the bunker. So imagine this, right? Like I'm pin high, I'm just inside, on the right-hand side, inside the far lip of the bunker. And I've got this big shoulder that then goes downhill to the pin, short-sighted. And that means because I'm in under the lip on the far end of the bunker being left-handed, I'm standing out of the bunker trying to hit the ball in the bunker, playing this impossible bunker shot, over the shoulder, downhill to the pin. Very hard to make good contact. So I catch it a little bit heavy and it gets out of the bunker, bounces on the crest of the hill, and it thinks about life for a minute and goes, will I go back into the bunker or will I roll onto the green? The ball fortunately makes the decision to roll onto the green, rolls down to about 6 inches from the cup, tap in bogey.
Nice.
Just the ugliest of bogeys to finish. But anyway, that made me finish at a plus 1384.
So you beat the day before. You
beat the day before.
Yeah, improved on the day before, which given how you felt.
It was a good outcome. I struggled to the finish line, but I beat day one. Most importantly, I finished 98th on the leaderboard off the stick and 40th on handicap.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. So you've achieved your goals from the day before, which is good.
Yeah, and I think, look, very briefly, the takeaways from the whole thing was battled super hard without my best driver game that has been my strength over the last 6 months.
What was your did you have a strokes gained for your driver?
I did actually. Not for the 2 rounds combined, but individually on the rounds. What was impressive though was my short game was much better than it has been.
Yep.
I have found something there, which is good. On day 2, I had 29 putts.
Okay.
Andy Walker. So that was pretty good.
Yep.
I think mental game was pretty good.
Yep.
on the whole. Didn't give it away at all. So that was, that was definitely something to take away. And I would say, mate, 2 days of stroke play is hard.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially when you're at a course which you don't know. You're effectively playing it blind.
Yeah.
Or at least the first day you're playing it blind. You're playing off the plates. You're in a state championship. Yeah, it's not easy.
It's tough. So look, strokes gained on day. Which one was this? On day one, tee shots minus 2.24.
Yep.
Approaches minus 4.92 was where the problem was.
Yep.
Short game was minus 2.05 and putting minus 0.49.
Okay, so putting's still okay. About average you'd expect with driver and short game, but the approach play was where the issues were. Yeah.
Yeah. So more of the same on day two. Driver was minus 3.9. Approaches was minus 4.3. Similar to day one, slightly better, but similar. Short game minus 1.9, that's the best it's been in ages. Putting plus 1.78.
Okay, that's good. Nice.
Was the tail of the tape on the strokes gained. So, yeah, putting's kind of kept me in it, really.
Storied.
Apparently. I mean, let's be honest. Draining a Texas wedge and sinking a 25-foot bogey putt.
Does help.
A few of those things. But, you still got to do it, don't you? So, anyhow, that was the story. So, looking at, it was a good weekend. Would have been nice for you to be there as well. Bit of a different experience driving there and back.
Yep.
But I'm glad I did it. I enjoyed the experience, and I think there's no substitute for experience when it comes to playing in tournaments, really.
So was it as good as the experiences last year at Parks, or?
Oh no, because we, Parks, we had the whole thing of it being a golf weekend away with the two of us and going out for dinner and having a good laugh, and this was nothing like that. But this was just purely about playing competitive golf. But I still maintain I love the environment. Like, there's nothing better than turning up at proper tournaments. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
For sure.
It's a lot of fun. You learn a lot about yourself. I think you learn more about yourself as a person than as a golfer, to be honest.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So, so there you go. It would be remiss of me if I didn't give a shout out and say congratulations to Jai Halls from Mollymook on his win. He took it out in the end by a couple of shots over last year's champion Cooper Giddings from Dubbo, who great effort to back up as defending champion, and they were tied with about 3 or 4 holes to go.
Yeah, right. Yep. A couple of really good golfers have come out of Mollymook.
Yeah, I mean, Jai is a good golfer, and there was another guy from Mollymook that was playing there as well who's pretty handy too. So, you're right. A couple of good golfers come out of Mollymook.
Yeah. Stephen Rintoul came out of Mollymook. He played on the US tour for a little while, now an official.
Yeah.
So you'll see him in officiating on some of the PGA Tour, and another guy who played pro for a while, but I think he's got his amateur status back. A guy by the name of Anthony Painter. Saw him around recently, which I hadn't seen his name around for a while. So good golfers come out of Mollymook.
Dave McClelland. All sorts of ones.
Yep.
Nice work, Andy Walker. So there you go. That's the New South Wales Country Championships 2025.
Done for another year.
Yep.
Did they make an announcement on where it is 2026?
They may have done, but in fairness, I didn't hang around for the trophy presentations because I was itching to get back home at that point. Enough. So I don't know. I don't know where it's at.
Yep. All right,
we will find out. We'll find out and put it on the calendar for next year. So there you go, Pilgrims. So get out there, get amongst it, play some tournaments.
Yeah, sounds good.
So Any other thoughts, Andy Walker, that you want to leave us with?
Well, really, and this was one of my tips that I gave you.
It was a good tip too.
Which you didn't mention, I must admit.
I put it to good use.
Yeah.
I did.
So
if it's what I think you're going to say.
Yeah, on the way to the course and then as a celebration on the way home, there's just one thing you need to embrace, I would say, as a pilgrim.
You do like to hug it out, so definitely embrace it. Yep.
Yep. So rock out, pilgrims.
Thanks for listening to us today. We love hearing from our pilgrims, so please reach out to us through any of the links in the show notes. We know golf is hard, so we hope we can help you shoot better scores and inspire you to keep trying. Rock on, pilgrims.